He's asked the rival military leaders in the country to meet him face to face in the coming days to discuss urgent protection for the delivery of aid. But in an interview in the Saudi city of Jeddah, the Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator also spoke of what he called the rigid existential fact that those at war are keen to keep it going. He spoke to our chief international correspondent, Liz Doucet, just after he visited Port Sudan on Sudan's Red Sea coast. She began by asking him how bad this crisis in Sudan is.
It's a shocking crisis, first, because, as you have heard, and as I have now heard, the tales of dramatic atrocity that we have seen, they have seen, in Khartoum and of course Darfur is lighting up, are pretty unparalleled. That's appalling. And as people say, that will lead to a generational problem of reconciliation anyway. The second, I think, really deeply concerning aspect is the speed with which, of course, it's going viral. And the way in which all these efforts to get national ceasefires or local ceasefires or temporary ceasefires have all stumbled presumably over the sort of rigid existential fact of those at war looking to keep going. So it's got all the makings of a tragedy of global relevance and global significance, and that's why this is an opportunity for the international community to show that we care about Africa.
During your time in Port Sudan, you had telephone conversations with the two warring leaders, General Burhan and General Hamdan. What did you hear from them? What assurances did you get?
What I said to them was this. I said, this is about specific protections for the movement of workers, persons, people, and goods and supplies. Going down certain roads at certain times, airlift protected from being shot down and so forth. So very concrete asks. But you two need to give us those assurances, and I want to meet you to go through those assurances. So they were both, obviously separately, very eloquent in their attachment to humanitarian principles and aspirations. On the question of where and when can we meet, and I think it's obviously urgent. This should be done in the next day or so. We're working on it.
In your darkest moments, do you worry that these two generals see this as a fight to the finish?
I think we all worry about that. It's the will. It's always the will. That's the swing factor. If you look at Yemen now, we're beginning to see the beginning of will. Changing of circumstance, perhaps. In Sudan, we haven't seen that yet, have we?
We heard from the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, who said the UN failed to stop this war, that you didn't see the warning signs. Is there a huge sense of responsibility for this crisis?
Look, I am not directly familiar with what the UN has or hasn't been doing on the political side.
Even UN agencies said they were surprised by it and are scrambling.
Oh, they did, and they're much more familiar with it.
So that means you're behind with humanitarian work because you didn't see it coming.
I think that's unfair. There are a lot of people who didn't see it coming. A lot of people in Sudan who didn't see it coming. Maybe we were. Maybe we were derelict in our duty. Maybe we were derelict in that responsibility. Fine, that's yesterday. What we're talking about today is doing something that is consistent with our values, that is as near as possible to safety for our operations and meets the needs of the Sudanese people.
This is the United Nations Aid Chief Martin Griffiths speaking to our Chief International Correspondent Liz Doucet.
US Newsday from the BBC with Rob Young and Victoria Wahunda. Those comments from Martin Griffiths.